Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you again for watching and obviously hitting that like button every time you do. I really appreciate that. Now we're going to take a quick look, of course, at the front end and back end data with Bitcoin. A simple way to understand it is we're going to discuss these support and resistance levels. If Bitcoin continues to pull back and we lose this SMA, what are the secondary, maybe tertiary targets for entry on a long, if you're considering that, or just more importantly, what the heck, do we short this coin at this point, right? There's not a lot of signs indicating that we should, but once more, we want to take a look at a few key factors here. So we'll start with back-end liquidation levels and go from there. And generally speaking, on the left-hand side, we're going to see the last 7 days liquidation. The right-hand side is last month. And the concept here for liquidation is just to kind of understand, where these heavy concentrations are at, okay? And as we talked about previously, in case you've missed it, 94 to 98,000 has a pretty significant chunk of liquidation there. But from the macro perspective, there's a lot more to the upside. Okay, so a lot of folks are shorting at 100, or they have basically liquidation levels or stop losses in the 110 to basically 114 now, actually about 115 now. Okay, so we got some late shorts here essentially, or just lower to middle leverage shorts, and obviously some high leverage shorts at 108. But this kind of gives us perspective, letting us know that we have those ranges there above the price action, which are technically closer than this large liquidation level at 85,000. So I think the propensity for further upside makes sense. Plus this slow bleed out, the way that it's going down here, it looks just like an algorithm trading. Basically, those who have a lot of money are just controlling the price action, keep selling until they get to their desired entry. Okay, my guess is it's going to be around the 102 to 103K range. But we'll take a look here. So first of all, when we look at liquidation delta, we can see there's more people shorting than taking longs at this point. All right. Now, it just tells us a lot in the sense that, hey, you don't want to necessarily take a long blindly into this. However, there should be a lot of confirming factors on the daily time frame, or smaller time frames rather, we're going to want to look for that might actually offset that. Okay. So again, you don't just jump on the bandwagon because it's moving in that direction, but this is kind of an indication that, hey, the market is moving down now that all this liquidation has been swept. We're just seeing like this slow bleed out. Okay. So it's not a lot of volume. You got to recognize that when it's low volume like this, it implies likely just an algorithmic type of trading, and essentially not like any significant buying or selling pressure. Just standard stuff to pull back to liquidation levels and to bounce off of them. Either way you look at it here, we can see here 1015 as we talked previously, 102, and roughly 103. So some easy round numbers to remember. Those are points of control based on local buying pressure. So a lot of folks are going to try to protect their investment there by adding to their position, or if the price goes lower, they're going to add to that as well. So usually when we have this type of open interest below the price action, it's generally favorable and construed as a support. Inverse, of course, applies here. 107,000. That's going to be a resistance for us too if and when we get back up there. Okay. So daily time frame. What are we looking at here? Quick way to understand it is we're still in good shape. All right. Now, again, I've mentioned this previously and multiple times in the recent past. As long as the price action stays over this $100,000 to $97,000 range, we're in pretty good shape. Okay. Because again, we're maintaining above all the moving averages. The important ones being the 20 and the 50. So as long as we stay above 100,000, my personal opinion, I think we're still in good shape. We can still consider Bitcoin to be bullish, right? There's nothing here that I see that's like a hidden bearish divergence or some kind of stretch, or like some people, they'll reach and they'll see little tiny cracks in the glass and be like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling, we're going to go down. Right, there's nothing really here to reflect that. Stochastic swinging up for a second time. We can see money flow index is high. There's a lot of reasons why we have sustainability in the current price point, because there's a lot of money flowing into this coin. So please recognize that we're not in dire straits by any stretch just because we have a couple of 4-hour candles. Right, we can even go down as low as 100,000. I'd still feel okay with it. All right. Having said that, though, the 4-hour time frame does tell us shifts in momentum could be occurring here in the relative near future. So we look at this trend line, this easy orange line here, kind of running concurrent with the 50-day SMA. I have that color just to kind of give us reflection of that moving average. And again, being above that is a positive sign. So my play out from yesterday so far is pretty accurate. The price is pulling back as expected, but also not a significant retracement. We have fairly low volume. I don't really see this being a problem. Okay, again, low volume pullbacks, I don't really bat an eye at, really. I think they're just kind of false positives in a lot of ways. They're just kind of fake outs, okay? So try not to buy into this. I'm not saying that we're not going down any further, but the likelihood of much further downside seems less likely. So we got a pretty strong support at this 102,000 or 102.2. Easy number to remember is 102. Okay, again, keep in mind that's reflected here as a point of control or an open interest area on the charts. Okay, So again, those are just some good reaffirmations letting us know this area should hold fairly strong if we come back any lower. And then furthermore too, right here at this guy, the 100,000 macro support, it's been tested almost 4 times, at least that 100.5 or lower mark in the last, 2 or 3 days worth of trading, okay? So again, mostly good stuff here, right? So we're on the right side of the tracks no matter how you look at it. I'm not super concerned with that. Just say we do end up closing somewhere in this range here later today. That's also a very positive sign here because that would give us somewhat of a a bullish pattern here, right? We're starting to form a nice little bullish continuation. Because again, the likelihood of this breaking up is higher because it derived around from the downside, right? Now, if we had this kind of pattern here and it came from the upside, then usually they break down, right? Triangle patterns are kind of funky that way, but you got to pay attention to its origination. And with us kind of coming up here, we're being in a good bullish type of scenario. The reason why it's more likely to break up is because we have good bullish momentum on the larger time frames. Okay, again, that's just a pattern 101, if you will. Never take a trade based on a pattern alone, but that is contributing here positive, kind of reaffirm the fact that we're in pretty good shape here. I don't see that being a problem. Having said that, we're right here at 50 on the RSI. Okay, so it's kind of a make or break. Ideally, we stay here and go up, and 104 is the new bottom. Okay, but once more, if we drop below that, we could expect potentially further downside and to maintain a range in the lower 100 to 102K range, or potentially, again, we got to be open to the idea, 97 to 100,000 could be that secondary sweep there. Okay, wouldn't be surprised. Again, a lot of times you'll see power of 3 where the price action works itself into a lower channel, fakes people out to go short, and then it just cranks up for that third and final expansive wave. Anyways, that's a different type of trading strategy there, but for the most part right now, we're not there yet, and we are looking at a pretty solid little situation here. I still feel pretty comfortable with everything here. Ichimoku Cloud is letting us know that we are sort of, I don't want to use the word breaking bearish, but we are shifting momentum. Okay, there's no other way around it. But as you can see here in the recent past, every time we've dropped below the cloud, the price does inevitably recover. So with us being fairly range bound within a larger range of 100,000 to 110,000, which is weird to say, we can see here that that's not really super relevant. So a lot of times you can get false positives on the Ichimoku Cloud when prices continue to do what they do. And there's no doubt about it, the market's been trash. Like this last weekend was garbage. Like rip down, rip up, rip down, rip up. Like it doesn't really know what the heck it wants to do. It's finding its equilibrium. It's starting to kind of balance itself out here, which is good. And the likelihood of further upside again is greater because we're moving up into a bullish type of rectangle and or pennant type of pattern. There's a lot of patterns you could extract here that are very bullish. Again, you're reaching if you're just looking for patterns, but again, that kind of reaffirms the fact that the overall sentiment here is still positive. So until we close soundly below 100,000, I really don't have any concerns with Bitcoin right now. How's that affecting altcoins? Well, based on Bitcoin dominance, it's reaching its little breakout point here, and we're starting to see a breakdown. So oftentimes when you see Bitcoin dominance start to pull back, altcoins will start to balance out and kind of zero out, and then they start to recover. So I think we're in this little shift here. If Bitcoin dominance continues to pull back, obviously money flows away from Bitcoin and goes into altcoins. Also respond positively there, but that's all theoretical for the moment because we never truly know when that is or how that works. Keep in mind, Bitcoin dominance is just a reflection of what's going on in the market. It's not the reason why altcoins or Bitcoins move, right? So just keep that in mind as well. Don't misinterpret that. All right, so I'll post a playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord shortly. Get you some insight there. It's all available here in case you're not familiar. And I hope that you learned something today. Comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a good one. Thanks again for your time. See you soon.